We can start.
Okay, okay. Please allow me some time. I am just sharing my screen and then I will go ahead.
Okay.
Well, there is some issue with my cursor. It had stopped.
Excuse me, do you have any technical problems?
Yes, there is a little technical problem. I am sorting it out. Just 1 second, Professor. I will sort it out. I will sort it out.
Okay. Алия Туриханова. Алия.
Да,
Алия, вы меня слышите? Помогите ему, пожалуйста, если у него какие-то проблемы.
Ага, хорошо. Excuse me, Professor. May I help you? Is there any problem?
My cursor has hanged. It's not moving on my screen.
Ага.
Он не может запустить экран.
Да.
Подскажите ему, как это сделать.
Just 1 second. Should I switch off the laptop and come again?
Yes. On the toolbar, you will find the button share. Share the screen.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we see it just on Facebook.
Research methodology in media.
Мне кажется, у него зависает просто
интернет. Мы не видим его экран. Он хочет презентацию запустить.
Да. А вы видите его Facebook страницу, да? Вот.
Я вижу, да.
Да, кажется, все видят.
Да, ну мне кажется, перезапуск. Can you,
give me
excuse me, Professor, can you reboot this?
Yes.
Okay.
Потому что
он сейчас перезагрузит, потом заново.
Ну, давайте наберемся терпения, потому что на самом деле ему очень сложно это все.
Это с интернетом, да.
Да, они, наверное, не пользуются этой платформой.
Да, скорее всего так.
Can you see my screen? No.
Yes, we can see your Facebook
we see the
page.
screen, but we see only the screenshot of your Facebook page. Yeah.
Okay. Just a second.
We see that someone has sent you a message here. You may just change the page.
Okay.
Да, ему просто в новинку работать в Teams, я так поняла, да, тоже.
Да. Ему надо просто объяснить, как сделать...
Yes, now you will see the PPT. Now you will see the PPT.
Yes, just choose. Yeah, it's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Good.
Yes, you can see now, right?
Yes,
now we see.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will start now. Hello, my lovely friends in University of International Relations and World Languages. I am Professor Dr. Ratnesh Dwivedi, and I hope Professor Bagila Akhitova, who is known to me for so many years, she would have told a bit about me. I have been in media teaching for nearly 20 years. I teach various subjects of media, international relations, news, politics, humanities, and I have authored 25 books, 43 research papers, and 2,000 articles nearly for mostly CIS countries. So I will not take much time. I will come to the point because we are already delayed due to technical glitches. The topic which I am going to cover today is research methodology in media. Why I have added the word media? Because my experiences in media, being a journalist and media academic, has forced me to think that in certain cases researchers in media are slightly different to the researchers which we do in other fields like IT, engineering, medical, humanities, economics, finances, management, and other areas. Because media is broadly and directly related with the lives of public. We deal with day-to-day happening of the public. But basic structure of researchers in media is almost same, which are applied in other fields of study. Like we follow 7 to 9 components when we start on researching some topic, or for instance, when we aim to design our PhD thesis or synopsis of PhD thesis, we generally structure our ideas and we design hypothesis. We design a parallel narrative to see if the statement or the topic which we are picking up for research is worthwhile to research, how much research has already been conducted in that area, what are the areas which are left out from being researched, and then we design our objective. We check the topic, the validity and reliability of topic. That means we put that topic with different angles. Suppose I am talking about, for instance, it's a bit political, Russia's strike over Ukraine. And we want to see what the two sides of the world are talking about. Okay, yes.
Excuse me. Is it still introduction? You have only the first slide, is it right?
Yes, I beg your pardon.
Okay.
Can you come again? Can you ask your question again?
Yes, okay.
No, I did not get what you were asking. Can you ask again?
No, I thought that you continue talking about other things, and there is only the first slide. So just
No. I am coming to the slides, but before that, I want to give you a background of what research means and how it is different to other fields. So first of all, when you pick up any topic for research, you design a hypothesis, and you select and you validate the topic on different parameters. You cannot select simply any topic to research. It should be scientific, and only then, and it should be praiseworthy when you are selecting a topic. Suppose I gave you an example. Suppose you are talking about researching about humanitarian issues in Ukraine. You will check this topic on different parameters through different sources, and then you select a topic. Then you will select the objective. What is the objective of your study? And what value it will add to the research community or for the public in general. Suppose as I said, you selected the topic humanitarian crisis in Ukraine as a result of Russia-Ukraine crisis. Then you will see what impact it is going to make on the Ukrainian people or on ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Then you will do design research questions. Right now what I am telling you that the basic structure of the research in media and in other areas of studies are same. Then you will design research question. You will select a dozen or 15 questions which will be answered in your research. After designing research question, you will design scope and limitation of study. What is the scope of your research? What kind of value it's going to add? And what is the limitation? Any research, whatever research you are doing, it is having some certain limitation because of certain facts. Suppose you are talking about a time period between January up till April 2022. That means your research has a limitation of time between January and April. It will not give any data before January 22 and after April 22. Then you will do literature study. You will examine what are the available literature in that area and what kind of literature you can review to conduct a study. After that, you will go for data research methodology, data collection, data analysis, conclusion, bibliography. These are certain structure of researches which are more or less similar in all kind of researches. Now, my topic of my discussion is how media researchers are slightly different to other fields. And I'm coming to that. Now, what I am going to explain in this session, I told you the basic framework of a research. And now I am going to tell you how the research methods are applied in media. First of all, I will go with introduction to media research. And media is not a simple one topic or one subject field. If I say that it's amalgam of variety of fields, and nowadays it includes multiple different other fields which were otherwise were studied in different other streams in past, like corporate communication, organizational communication, international relation, intercultural communication, speech communication, public relation, marketing communication. There are so many, mass communication, group communication, advertisement, event management. There are almost 36 streams which are studied in media. And that is what I am saying here, that communication covers a broad range of topics. It draws heavily from other fields. like sociology, psychology, anthropology, economics, finances, management, a bit of science, and and that is why most of methods in media research are the same which are applied in social sciences research. They are also applied in communication research. When we talk about fields like history, literature, they use specific methods of research, while as communication research uses all kinds of methods in research. And that is why I'm saying it's amalgam of all kind of researches. You take name of any method of research and you can apply it in media or its various streams. Individual studies of communication research use multiple methods. What are these methods? Let's study. First of all, how we do researches in media. And it is this, this type of research method, it's applicable in other fields also. Quantitative method. What is quantitative method? When we play with number, that means we extract our result from numerical analysis. In such studies, observations or findings or results are expressed in numerical terms. Quantitative research is basically explanatory in nature and sometimes involves experiments. And it also sometimes needs lab experiments, mathematical experiment, statistical experiment, and such studies attempt to use precise statistical tools and models to achieve comprehensive understanding of communication behavior and phenomena. Second point in quantitative methods is if, if you want to know what is the example of quantitative method, surveys and opinion polls. Here in a country like India, every year there is election taking place and all the media channels, whether they are TV media channel or they are newspaper, they conduct survey to, to know the opinion of public, which political party is winning, which political party is losing. Similarly, they do opinion polls and they also do exit polls. Now there are three things: surveys, opinion polls, and exit polls. Surveys can be conducted anytime. Opinion polls 2 to 3 months before elections, and exit polls on the day when polling ends. Voters are coming out fresh from polling booths and they give fresh data. Such methods often try to predict present or future behavior in various communication and political situations. That means in these kind of methods, we intend to know the future, and on the basis of that, we do predictions. In such studies, statistical methods are used as a means to an end. There are not ends in themselves. Here, numerical data are analyzed and presented numerical. What I mean to say, based on those numerical data which we collect from public, we give predictions. And since they are mathematical and numerical data, the result is very precise and accurate. Then comes second method which we use, it's called qualitative method. Any questions so far? Students?
It's clear?
Okay, okay. So here in qualitative method, our emphasis is not numerical data. Rather, these methods depend on description of any event and its interpretation in textual way. Suppose we want to research on humanitarian, again I will take the example of Russia-Ukraine situation. We will not collect numerical data. Rather, we will go through the newspapers, television news channels, books, magazines, and we will analyze those available texts and come on some conclusion. And generally, they are not first-hand data. We are relying on first-hand sources to extract second-hand data and give our conclusion. We do not intend to find a pattern in the event, but rather we intend to find out and analyze the happening around us. Okay? Now, for example, case studies are best example of qualitative analysis. Focus group studies are some of the examples of qualitative methods. Case studies, census, surveys, observation, interviews, they are some of the example of qualitative analysis. Now, census method, what is this? Every country in existing world conducts census. That means counting the number of people in their country. This needs a huge effort, large manpower, because you have to count each and every person and collect each and every family's data. It includes studying the entire population, and that is a quantitative method, not the qualitative method. Every single element of the universe is covered in this method. Thus, the result is always good. Also, there is no danger of biases or prejudices being introduced. The major drawback of the census method is it is highly expensive and involves large manpower, because you have to reach to every possible person in the country. Okay? The second is survey method. Survey originates from two words, serve and war, which means to see a particular thing from a height. Suppose you climb up on a hilly mountain and stand there and look at the base of the mountain. So this survey word originated from that. But this term is used differently in different sciences. In natural sciences, survey means measuring things. In social sciences, survey means investigating social problems by collecting data through interviews and questionnaires. In communication research, it means looking at something in its entirety, completeness. In surveys, we cover events, processes, behavior, and in quantitative communication research, a survey is an empirical, numerical study that uses questionnaires or interviews to discover descriptive characteristics of communication phenomena. Often people think that surveys are means of studying large number of people. However, relatively smaller groups like employees of an office can also be surveyed. Surveys can be used for all kinds of communication studies. There are two basic forms of survey: questionnaire survey and interview-based survey. We will study that. What is questionnaire survey? In which we send a set of questions to public and ask them direct questions on particular topic. It involves certain steps like selecting and framing the questions, formatting the question, determining the validity and reliability of the questions, sampling subjects, administering the questionnaire, and analyzing and interpreting the result. How selecting and framing questions are done in a questionnaire survey, it's very difficult. You need to have a lot of knowledge about a particular subject, because unless you don't know a particular topic thoroughly, you wouldn't be able to design the questions. Developing or framing questions is often a difficult task. It requires extensive reading on the subject, composing a rough draft, draft 1, draft 2, draft 3, and the final draft, putting them into a proper format. Questions can be direct or indirect, specific or general. Also, there could be pure questions or statements where you have to be little, where the respondents have to be little descriptive. The researcher is free to adopt one type of questions or a variety of question types. Open-ended questions often result in a broad variety of responses. After selecting and designing the questions, the second step is formatting. The basic format of questionnaire includes a brief statement about the study at the beginning, request for participation, assurance of confidentiality. To whom you will ask all these things? You will ask all these things to the respondent, that please don't disclose the question to anyone else. Then come to demographic questions: gender, age, educational qualification, income grade, family member. Next come the questions on the topic, usually questions of same response mode, like yes or no. Or you can divide the question which can be answered in yes or no in first 5-6 pages. Then the questions which needs options A, B, C, D, you can have another 5 pages for that. And the questions which are in form of a statement and needs little description, you can have another 5 pages. So generally we ask 20 to 30 questions on a topic, but sometimes if topic is complex, we can have as many as 50 questions. After selecting and formatting the questionnaire, we come to determining the reliability and validity. Like we determine reliability and validity of topic of your research, we determine reliability and validity of the questionnaire. After framing question, formatting, researcher must test the validity, that means relevance, and reliability, that means consistency of the questions. For this, researcher often put check questions in the questionnaire. That means turn around your questions and then ask if the question is relevant. Many methods of testing validity and reliability are available. These include test scale, polarity, rotation, etc. After all these three, sampling the subjects, respondents. Now, sometimes you might need a particular age group as a respondent. Sometimes you might need a particular gender as a respondent. Sometimes you may need a particular social income group as a respondent. So one cannot always study the entire population of the universe. A representative sample is thus selected. Many methods are used for this purpose. As I told you, age-based, gender-based, social income based, social group-based, caste-based, race-based. After all this, administering the questionnaire. Questionnaire, how to make the questionnaire available to respondents. You can email them, you can text them, you can send it on Messenger, WhatsApp, whatever, social media, Survey Monkey, or you can post it, or the best way is to carry the questionnaire by yourself, go to respondent and ask by yourself so the confidentiality remains intact. After all this, you receive the answers of the respondent, analyzing and interpreting the result. Mostly researchers use statistical means for analyzing data collected through the questionnaire. They try to show averages or the spread of data. Whatever means you use, this research tries to reveal answer to the problems posed in the study. So the questionnaire and the result of the respondent, the answer of the respondent gives you the result. And there are various means of analyzing the data. The one more method other than qualitative and quantitative method is observation method. And in this too, there are two types of observation method. One is participatory observation and another is non-participatory observation. Observation means you don't have to note down anything, you don't have to send the questionnaire, but you participate in a group about whom you want to study. Suppose you want to study about an African society. So there are two methods. You go live there within that society for a period of time, note down their activities, their behavior, their social pattern, and or you remain at a distance and observe their activity. So one is when you participate in that group and observe their activity. Another when you remain at a distance and observe. Both are participatory and non-participatory observation. How we do it? Selecting the group and the place or setting. Getting familiar with the place and the group. Building rapport, building connection is very important because it might be a case that you are going in a different culture. So building a rapport, a connection, a feeling, a bondness is very important. Sampling within the group for selecting the types of behavior, asking questions if required, keeping record of observation, and finally, interpretation of the data. These are intensive after quantitative, qualitative, case studies, surveys, and the observation method. We will study case study method. These are intensive inquiries about single event. we narrow down our topic. Because suppose if we take example of Russia, Ukraine, there might be number of topics on which we can research. Are you asking something to me, Professor? Are you asking something to me? Are you asking something to me, Professor?
Yes. You can ask.
No. Okay, fine. So, that is, we will narrow down our topic. In Russia, Ukraine, you may find a topic related to war. You may find a topic related to humanitarian crisis. You may find a topic related to politics. So you will narrow down your topic. Either you select humanitarian issue, or you select conflict, or you select peace processes, and then you do the case study. Also, geographically, you have to narrow down. You can take a society to do the case study. You may select a time frame, a smaller time frame for a case study. This is how the case studies help the researcher know precisely the factors and the causes of particular phenomena. It is kind of qualitative analysis. Whether an individual, an institution, a social unit, or an entire community is studied, the subject or the respondent is considered as a whole unit. The case study method covers every aspect of that group very intensively. Unlike most other methods where only general aspects are covered, the case study narrows down on research and covers emotional and psychological aspects also. And finally, interview method. Like in the participative observation method, the researcher collects information in the interview. And it all depends on the interviewee how good or how bad he is. Many people ignore the questionnaire and do not respond. So at that time we adopt interview method. Selecting questions. Again, how beautifully you select the questions. The interviewer does not have a set of pre-framed questions. You go directly to the interviewee, start conversation, and questions start beaming in your mind. You start with general questions, then come on very precise questions, and end up on a general question. Type of question strategy. There are certain strategies to design the question. Researchers use a variety of strategy to organize their questions. Some put the demographic question, some personal question, some emotional question. In one such way is funnel questioning, which starts with general and open-ended questions. These are followed by narrow or specific questions. Inverted funnel question begins with a very specific question, which is then followed by general questions. Suppose you are asking a doing tunnel questioning with the interviewee. You will start like this. How do you feel about the news programs on a particular channel? How do you rate the coverage of local events? How do you rate the coverage of local problems? How do you rate the coverage of the sewage or electricity problem in your city? And then you come on a specific question. Like this inverted funnel question. What is your favorite TV serial? Do you like other serials of the same type? What type of TV programs do you watch? initial questioning is over, then you go for narrow questions. Mirror question involves repeating previous questions in a different way, another way. Suppose your interviewee is smart enough to avoid the answers, then you turn the question in a different way and ask cleverly. The Gallup organization, which runs the famous Gallup polls, has devised the following principle for conducting interviews. The questions should be short and to the point. The words and phrases should be simple. The question should avoid all possible bias against or in favor of particular point of view. The question should include all the important alternatives. So this is how I told you that media research are slightly different to other streams. Otherwise, as far as structure of the research is concerned, it's more or less same. I hope if you have any question, you can ask.
Thank you, dear Professor Ratnesh Dwivedi, for an interesting lecture. Our students would like to ask you questions. Dear students, you can ask any questions. Aliya Turikhanova, please.
Dear Professor, let me thank you for the presentation and the information you gave. And I have one question. As far as I know, for qualitative and quantitative research, we have software, and I know that your region is developed very well in IT, I mean information technologies. Yeah. So could you please advise us maybe some softwares that does that qualitative and quantitative research? Maybe free trial or names of the software.
Yes, I thank you for your question. It's very important to use. There are many softwares which are used in quantitative analysis. I will email to Professor Bagila about the certain softwares, and you can ask her. They are available free of cost. You can use it for analyzing the data and reaching on a conclusion and result.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, Professor. Thank you for the information you have provided. Did you start working in the media when you were a student?
Very, very interesting question. I started writing for media, newspapers, when I had just passed my graduation. And primarily I wrote for international affairs, and then I did my master's in mass communication, another diploma in journalism. Then I worked here in India's capital, Delhi, with BBC's Delhi office, with a very prominent Indian television channel. I still keep writing for international publication. So journalism I have not left. I started when I just had passed graduation.
Okay, I have a second question. Do you find it easier these days to find a job or internship while studying at university?
It depends what kind of industries a particular countries are having. Like in India, in 1991, government of India opened liberalization. which opened way for many multinational companies, many media houses to come and set up offices in India. So situation, job sector improved. It depends what kind of industries you have, what kind of job sector, what is the development or growth of job sector in a particular country, and it totally depends on skills you develop during internship. Internship is a buffer period. I will suggest, I suggest all my students that once you get a chance to do the internship, utilize that time to learn as much as you can. And that knowledge will be your base for the job and the growth, further growth. Maybe for 2, 3 years, you might need to struggle a bit, but then there will be no stop for you if you have learned a lot during internship.
Thank you. More questions, students? Dear Professor Ratnesh Dwivedi, could you please provide more examples from your own research?
From my own research, you know, I will tell all my students that you should not take your profession, your professional goal in a very professional way. That means only for earning money. Rather, you should develop a hobby. That means you should enjoy your work. I like writing, and I like guiding my students on career development and future goals. So you should develop your career as your passion, whether you are going in IT or you are going in media or in academics or linguistics or international relations. You should develop it as your hobby. Means you should enjoy. Money will come, earning will come, but you should enjoy it as your hobby. And suppose you have flair for writing, you should write. If you don't get a publishing agreement with a publisher, you should write your own personal diary. I started writing to from letter to editor in local newspapers as early as in 1994, 1995. Whatever struck, whatever pinched to me, I immediately wrote a letter to local newspaper, letter to editor. And that started, then I started writing a smaller article, bigger articles. And now out of 25 books, I have not focused on any particular topic. Rather, what pinched me, I wrote on that. Like I have written on space sciences, I have written on spiritualism, I have written on media, I have written on digital security, I have written reportage. So you should, your hobby should be matching with your career. Only then you can enjoy your career and your income.
Thank you very much. More questions, students, dear students?
Please ask more questions.
Dear
More
Professor, I
Huh?
have a question. So you have told us about the methods, yeah, but which method is mostly used in media and you used more often than others? And
Okay,
which method has less discrepancies in outcome of the research?
correct. Very, very fine question. You know, in media at different stages we use different kind of research. For example, if we have to calculate election result, we will use quantitative tools and quantitative methods. But if we have certain event has happened, certain accident has happened, and we have to describe and analyze that, we will use qualitative method based on researches. As far as accuracy part, your second part of question is concerned, no doubt quantitative method gives best result. But all the time we do not look for best result. Rather, we look for satisfaction of the public in media. And sometimes, unless your answers are not descriptive, public does not believe in numerical value. You give data, okay, fine. Corona, suppose let's take the example of COVID-19. Every day television channels were giving data. This much persons got cured, this much persons got died, but people was not consoled or satisfied with that unless a counseling with the doctors were not done in form of descriptive source. That is all I want to
say. Thank you very much. More questions, students?
I also have a question. Are you planning any new researches in the near future?
I beg your pardon, can you ask again? Can you ask again?
Ayim, could you please repeat your questions?
Are you planning any new researches in the near future?
New, what do you mean, new what?
New studies or researchers?
New researches?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Means new research.
Yes. I'm planning a book and I am partnering on a project with a professor, and I would also like to do research projects with your university also, in which you all also can. Generally, I design my own project and then I send those projects to various universities. Like I did a massive project with a Russian professor. I did a project with NASA scientist Tony Levitt. It was on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I did a project with the Western Caucasus Research Center project. And I will suggest you all should look for your professor, and if you have any, if you want to assist me, I will send link of my firm which I have conceptualized and designed, and you can contribute your articles, your thoughts for that news website and firm.
Thank you, dear professor. I think maybe Ayim will assist you in the future.
I would love to hear a lecture on the results of your future research. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you. More questions, dear students and teachers?
No questions. Thank you.
No questions. Okay. If there are no questions, let's say thank you to dear Professor Ratnesh Dwivedi for being together with us and for very interesting lecture, and we will continue next week, and we will meet you next week in our class. Thank you so much.
Looking forward interacting with the students once again next week. Thank you, Professor Bagila. Thank you very much, and thank you, my dear students. It was wonderful interacting with all of you.
Yeah, the content was very interesting and useful for us, for our students. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
We
Yes.
look forward to seeing you again. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Так, можете остаться, студенты. Скажите мне, пожалуйста, вам было понятно все?
Если честно, вообще непонятно, только из презентации то, что читали, в принципе...
Это кто сейчас говорит?
Асылханова.
Аима Асылханова?
Да.
Да. Ну, видите, это называется, как это индийский и английский называется, я забыла. Хиндиш, да? Хиндиш или как там?
Да, это правда, у него
того.
акцент, и немножко не было понятно, приходилось просто переводить самим. А в принципе, очень интересно было, я так полагаю.
Да, он потому что, ну, как бы рассказывал, просто у него... Он рассказывал и старался примеры вам приводить. Я не знаю, вы поняли или нет, но вообще на самом деле изучение языка подразумевает, что вы должны слушать разных спикеров, да, с разным акцентом, потому что, ну, сами понимаете, мир такой мультикультурный сейчас, да, и что даже если вы поедете там, ну, например, в Британию, то да, может быть, вы там услышите такой прям настоящий классический английский. Но если вы поедете в Соединенные Штаты, это, ну, страна иммигрантов, и там, конечно, язык будет совсем другой, да, и будет очень много акцентов. Ну и так же, как и в других странах. Если, например, мы говорим на английском, у нас тоже акцент, да, и, то есть у всех акценты, да, и я думаю, что вот полезно слушать разных спикеров. Это очень полезно. Ну, я благодарю за активное участие это вот докторанта Алию Туриханову, которая вот оказала такую поддержку. Алия, вы здесь, да? Алия? Она, видимо, вышла, да, вот Алию и Аим тоже. Асылханову за активное участие, то, что вы задавали вопросы. Вообще, когда кто-то приходит, вот спикер, ему, конечно, хочется, чтобы ему как можно больше вопросов задали. И поэтому вот, когда он в следующий раз придет, у него уже тема будет другая. Сегодня он говорил о методах исследования. По-моему, следующая тема будет посвящена межкультурной коммуникации. Я сейчас не помню, надо посмотреть. Вот, и, пожалуйста, вот вы побольше вопросов задавайте, любые, вы можете на казахском, на русском языке задавать, то есть, ну, вас переведут, понимаете, это для вас очень важно, потому что вы учитесь общаться со спикерами, вы учитесь задавать вопросы, как будущим журналистам это очень важно, потому что вы будете посещать разные там, ну, например, пресс-конференции, да, и какие-то другие мероприятия, когда нужно будет задавать вопросы быстро, нужно будет вести дискуссию, ну, то есть, да, то есть как small talks, да, называется на английском, такие маленькие разговоры вести, заводить, да, на разные темы, и, конечно, это для вас большая практика. Поэтому вот я надеюсь, что как бы в следующий раз вы будете более активны. Вы могли хоть о чем спрашивать. Вы могли спросить, какие предметы студенты в Индии там изучают на факультетах журналистики, да, например. Вы могли спросить там, какие сейчас злободневные темы в средствах массовой информации, да, то есть актуальные темы. Вы могли даже спросить что-то там об индийских актерах, например, да хоть что, на любую тему, да. То есть все темы освещаются в средствах массовой информации. Поэтому вы можете, когда перед вами стоит специалист по массовой коммуникации, а он специалист по массовой коммуникации, можно спрашивать у него обо всем, потому что медиа освещают все вопросы и пишут на все вопросы. Понятно, да, ребята? И потом, я не знаю, почему вот вы все за аватарками находитесь? В чем причина? Почему не хотите показать свои
Вареники
лица?
варю.
А? Не слышу.
Вареники варю, а у вас зашар скоро.
Ну да, это у вас, вы из дома, да? Ну, не все же из дома, кто-то там, ну, я, например, тоже дома нахожусь. Ну, просто я очень часто участвую в таких международных каких-то конференциях, там, семинарах и так далее. То есть у них принято, что люди показывают свои лица. И хорошо, что он, ну, как бы смотрел все время, у него, видимо, микрофон был внизу, что ли, он вниз смотрел, да, и нам казалось, что он на нас не смотрит. А на самом деле он, наверное, видел, но вообще обычно как бы в практике, что хотя бы в начале люди показываются, ну, с лицами, да, то есть показывают лица, но вообще это на протяжении как бы мероприятия надо так вести. Ну, я не знаю, надеюсь, что в следующий раз вы исправитесь. Теперь, значит, я благодарю вас всех и попрошу за участие. Надеюсь вас увидеть в следующий раз в это же время, в этой аудитории. Спасибо вам, дорогие студенты. Ну, хочу с себя, мы с вами не знакомые, я профессор Багиля Ахитова, работаю на кафедре международных коммуникаций, на которой вы учитесь. Вот, Алия Туриханова, которая вот здесь, я просила ее помощи, это мой докторант. Она вообще преподаватель IT-университета, но пишет докторскую диссертацию под моим руководством. Потом я еще видела здесь докторантов тоже, но они, по-моему, все вышли. Вот. Ну и здесь находятся магистранты, вот Анара Болатхан я вижу, и Альфия, да, Альфия Хайбулина. Ну, может быть, еще кто-то из докторантов есть, я точно не знаю. Вот. Ну, так что докторантов прошу остаться. Вот вижу наши преподаватели, Кудеярова Айгуль Ермухановна здесь, и наша заведующая кафедрой Аким Ольга Яковлевна. Вот, очень приятно. Ну, значит, студенты, прошу, кроме магистрантов, благодарю вас. И, ну, преподаватели тоже можете остаться. Можете все быть свободны. Спасибо вам за участие. Всего доброго.
Вам спасибо, до свидания.
Спасибо и вам, до свидания.
До свидания, до свидания. Угу. Вот не поняла. Не поняла, куда у нас... Не поняла, куда у нас студенты ушли? Девочки, извините, а вы куда вышли вообще? У вас же занятие это еще